Welcome class to this quick video on section 6.3, the rule of 4. In this video I'm just going to go over quickly with you the rule of 4, what it is, and then I'm going to show you how to answer page 13 or complete page 13 in your tips booklet, and that should enable you to be able to complete pages 14 and 15 on your own. Alright, so let's go. To start, let's talk about the rule of 4, and the rule of 4 says that we can express any mathematical idea in 4 different ways. We can use words, as in a word problem, or as in just a description of a scenario, like Mr. O'Connor has 20 candies, he eats 2 candies an hour. That is a description of a math problem, and we used words to do it, so that's a word model. And then we have a graphic model, and you can see on the top left there, we use graphs in order to represent mathematical problems. And we have numeric models, and for that typically we're using tables of values. And then we have a symbolic method, which is normally equations or expressions. Okay, so those are the 4 models, and in this video I'll be going over how we can use those. And this page here on page 13 in the tips booklet. Alright, so here it says each situation has a graphical model, an algebraic model, and a numerical model. It also has a word model, you can see here. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be completing this table of values down here, and we're going to be either using the algebraic model or the graphical model in order to do that. Now I want to point out one thing first, which is that in all of the 3 representations here, the word model, the algebraic model, and the graphical model, we can see these 2 elements over and over expressed in different ways. These 2 elements are 1, the rate of change, also known as the slope, or 2, the initial value, also known as the y-intercept. Alright, so if I look at the word model, it says Big Pine Outfitters charges a base fee of $40 and $10 per hours of use. So they see the base fee, that's the initial value. That's the value you have to pay even when you've used 0 hours, right? So that would be, we're going to label it with B. We're going to go through and label all of them. So B. And then what about $10, $10 per hour? That's the rate of change. And so we're going to label that as M. Alright, so the rate of change is M, the slope, the rate of change, same thing. Alright, what about if I have the algebraic model? In the algebraic model, you can see C equals 40 plus 10t. So 40 still is our initial value, or our y-intercept. And 10t, 10, is our slope. What about in the graph over here? Can we find the initial value? Yes, we can. The initial value is the y-intercept. It's where the line connects with the y-axis. And it is here. It is 0, 40, so we're going to label that as B. And how could we find the slope? Well, we would create the triangle from any 2 clearly identified points. Draw the triangle from there to there. What's the rise? 10. What's the run? 1. So 10 over 1 equals 10. M is equal to 10. Okay, so here is our M. Good, and so then at the very end of the video, I'm going to go over how we can identify these things through the table of values, but first we need to fill it out. So to do A is asking you to find the cost when the time is equal to 0. And so I can do that pretty easily using the graph, can't I? I'm just going to erase all this. If you look at the graph here, when the time is 0, how much was the cost? Cost was $40, so I can write in here $40, and I used a graphical model to do that. So down here I can show that graphical model just by doing this and pointing out that that was 0, 40. That's how we solved that. Now, could I have used the algebraic model as well? Well, the algebraic model is C is equal to 40 plus 10t. Which value have I been given? I've been given the amount of time, which is 0, so I can replace t with 0. And what's 10 times 0? 10 times 0 is 0, and so on my next line I'm left with 40. And so you get the same answer. Alright, for B, it gives us the cost, which is $70. Can I use the graph to find how many hours you can rent the canoe for $70? I can. all I got to do is look here at 70, draw the line like this. Hopefully yours is a little better than mine, but you can see it connects at 3. And so our answer here is 3 hours. And I used a graphical model to do that, so I can just draw a little graph like this, and I can just simply point out that this point is 3 and 70. Could I have used an algebraic model? Of course I could use an algebraic model. C equals 40 plus 10t. In this case, how much is the value of t? We don't know, we're trying to find out. It gave us c, so we're going to substitute in 70 for c. 70 equals 40 plus 10t. And now we're doing two-step algebra. We have times 10 in the way and plus 40 in the way. And we get rid of addition or subtraction first. We get rid of plus 40 by subtracting 40 from both sides. 70 minus 40 equals to 10t. 30 equals to 10t, because 70 minus 40 is 30. Now I need to divide both sides by 10. 3 is equal to t. And you see I got the same answer. How about for c? Can I use the graph in order to find how many hours you can rent the canoe for $230? The answer is no, because the graph only goes up to 90. And so here I'm going to put not applicable. But could I use the equation in order to find out the number of hours you can have the canoe for $230? The answer is yes. And that's the benefit of the equation, is no matter how high or how low the value is, you can use the equation to solve. And so instead of writing c, I'm going to replace c with 230, because that's the information I've been given, and I'm trying to find the number of hours, which is represented by the variable t. So again, I have plus 40 in the way, multiplied by 10 in the way. I get rid of addition and subtraction first, so I'm going to subtract 40 from both sides. I get 230, subtract 40 is equal to 10t. 230 minus 40 gives me 190 is equal to 10t. I divide both sides by 10. 19 is equal to t. I can rent the canoe for 19 hours if if I'm spending $230. Okay, so I wanted to just show you one thing. So you notice that we were able to identify b and m in the word problem, b and m in the algebraic model, b, and we did a rise over run to find m in the graph, right? So in all of those 3 models, we are able to identify the slope and the y-intercept. I can also do that with a numeric model, no matter what is in the numeric model, as long as the information is correct, of course. So how would I find the y-intercept? Let's find b. Well, b is going to be the value of y whenever x is equal to 0. So you can see x here is equal to 0. And what's y equal to? Y is equal to 40. So this here is b, because it is the value of y when x is equal to 0. How can I find the slope? How can I find m? I can find m by finding the first differences between any 2 consecutive rows, so 40 and 70. I could even do it between 40 and 230 if I wanted, but let's keep it simple, between 40 and 70. And then I find the pattern on the left-hand side as well. What's the difference between 0 and 3? So let's start here first. Difference between 40 and 70. When we say difference, we mean subtraction. So 70, subtract 40, and we get 30. And here the difference, 3 subtract 0, and gives us 3. Now, that means when the when the time changed by 3 hours, the cost changed by $30. So if I use rise over run, which means the change in y over the change in x. How much did y change by? Y changed by 30. How much did x change by? X changed by 3. So 30 divided by 3, and we get the slope is 10. Here is m. So you can see we can use all 4 models, and we're able to find the slope and the y-intercept, or the rate of change and the initial value, using all 4 models. All right, so based on this, you should be able to complete pages 14 and 15, which is being assigned today. Good luck with that. If you have any questions, make sure you reach out to me.